Alabama survives in a great SEC championship.
The dawn of a new season's brought new faces to familiar places.
Gets it, looks long. Touchdown, Alabama! Richardson, he throws the ball. Touchdown, Gators! Oh, man!
And now the Tide and Gators are ready to write yet another chapter in their storied rivalry. And this chapter is chapter 42. Alabama has won the last 7 over Florida, their first trip into the swamp for the Tide in 10 years. And with that, the Home Depot SAC on CBS brings us to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the swamp in Gainesville. It's top-ranked Alabama. It's number 11 Florida.
Those intros, that theme music, will be etched in the minds of college football fans forever. The SEC on CBS always seemed like a match made in heaven, and in many ways, it was. The partnership between CBS and the SEC originated back in 1995, and it was actually originally a joint venture between CBS, the SEC, and the Big East. However, when it became time for contract renewals in 2000, the Big East decided not to renew its contract with CBS, and therefore SEC became the exclusive college football partner with CBS. Vern Lundquist was installed as the play-by-play announcer on CBS's number one show, which was that 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slot, one of the most successful slots in sports television history. And like I said, it was a match made in heaven, and the rest is rock and roll history. To illustrate how successful this partnership was for the span of its existence, the SEC and CBS weekly broadcast at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was the highest rated regular season college football package on any network for 14 consecutive seasons. That's almost 15 years. That's insane. And you may ask yourself, how was this partnership so successful? Well, I've done you the justice of breaking it down here. There's several elements that mix together perfectly to yield sustainable success that lasted all the way till this very year for the SEC on CBS. And I thoroughly enjoyed every game that I watched when it came to the SEC on CBS. Just amazing. So, the first element of success is, of course, the timing of the SEC on CBS's partnership between the SEC and CBS. It was right in time for the golden era of the SEC. Listen to this statistic right here, too. From 2003 to 2022, the SEC won 14 football national championships. That, again, is another number that is absolutely flabbergasting. The exclusivity of that 3:30 p.m. window also helped CBS when it came to getting eyeballs on those broadcasts. For a while, and I will get to this, but for quite some time, no other SEC games were aired at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because that was CBS's window. They didn't want there to be any competition from other networks. So minimizing that competition nurtured CBS's success in the partnership. There's great talent on air, I've got to say. People can say what they want to say about Gary Danielson. I think he provided great analysis throughout the years, but he is like that. When it comes to play-by-play and analyst combinations, there always seems to be a protagonist and an antagonist, and Gary Danielson is just one of those antagonists, like a Joe Buck, that for whatever reason people just don't like. But I will say I thought that his analysis was great throughout his time with SEC on CBS. But you had great on-air talent such as Vern Lundquist and Brad Nessler. I mean, those are golden voices. Those are some of the best to ever do it. And they really set the stage, and their voices, their presence, really just decorated those games in a way that I don't think any other personalities could have done throughout the tenure of the SEC and CBS's partnership. And I gotta say, excellent production. I started the video with this. Excellent production. From the visual, the camera angles. They're always very innovative with the camera angles that they brought in. the sponsorships, having the Aflac duck come onto the screen and make the quack noises that we all know it's vintage. The score bug. I always loved CBS's score bug. I always thought it looked very crisp. And of course, those intros. There is just something just chilling about that SEC on CBS intro. I grew up watching SEC football. It's what I knew since I was like 6 years old. And there was nothing like seeing an Alabama against LSU game that's going to decide who's going to go to the SEC championship start with that SEC on CBS intro. Like it just made like the individual hairs on your arms stand up before the game, and it got you pumped, it got you energized, it got you ready to just sit back and embrace the 3.5 hours of great football, great competition that you're about to witness. And moments. The moments throughout the years. Of course, the kick six. As much as it hurts me to say it, the kick six. That's one of those moments. Another one that hurts me. That Alabama LSU game back in 2019 with Tua and Joe Burrow. Alabama's 4 overtime win against Auburn at Jordan-Hare. The 4th and 31 several weeks ago. That's another amazing moment. Auburn's miracle catch against Georgia. There's just been so many throughout the years. LSU's fake punt. There's just been so many fantastic moments on CBS throughout the years, and the games that CBS was able to air through this partnership. There was concern with CBS executives when they first entered this exclusive deal with the coverage of SEC football being regional. They didn't know. They didn't know if it wasn't going to take off. They didn't know if it wasn't going to be traction because maybe the South is the only area that embraces it. But it turned out that wasn't the case, because if you can put a good product on television, have great competition on the fields, you've got a game that's deciding who's going to a championship game, and some of those teams are more likely than not going to go to the national championship or the college football playoff 2014 or after. People want to watch. It's an entertainment product at the end of the day. And then there's also the connection with NFL fans. A lot of great pro players come from the SEC. So you'll have pro fans, Patriot fans, Giants fans, Packers fans, Cowboys fans that'll watch these games. Even though they have no allegiance to any team that's on the screen, they'll watch the game just because they want to see what guys are on the field. So maybe they can start to think about who their team's going to draft. So it all sounds good and dandy, and it was. It was a sustainably successful partnership. But it was kind of like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It had its ascent, its peak, and then that somewhat tumultuous decline. And so we ask ourselves, where did this partnership go wrong? Well, that Texas A&M and Missouri entrance into the SEC shook a lot of things in the college football world up, and the SEC on CBS happened to be one of those things. So here's what happened essentially. ESPN, who had a deal with the SEC at the time, increased its distribution from 12 to 14 units to compromise for the entrance of Texas A&M and Missouri into the conference. They wanted to show more games. Well, CBS declined to do that, and that's where tensions between CBS and the SEC began. And it only intensified when CBS would not restructure its contract with the SEC. So they're in the middle of that $55 million deal, and when the time around 2018, 2019 came, CBS was only paying $3.5 million per game to the SEC. And to put it into perspective, ESPN was paying $20 million. And to illustrate this even more, the SEC on CBS was airing top-tier games like LSU and Alabama, Georgia and Florida. ESPN, they're getting like the Arkansas and Auburn and Ole Miss Vanderbilts of the mix. So they're paying more for less, and CBS is paying less for more. And that's where it started to get really tumultuous and really tense. And as time went on, the relationship eventually concluded as college football's conferences started to realign and new TV contracts were born of that. CBS ended up partnering with the Big Ten, and the SEC ended up partnering exclusively with ESPN. And that's where things are headed now from here on forwards. And it is unfortunate because the SEC and CBS was an integral part of my childhood. I'm never going to remember that theme song. It really will be embedded into my head for the rest of my life. But from the bottom of my heart, I genuinely want to thank the SEC and CBS for all of the memories, all of the great play calls, all of the great moments, all of those great intros that got me stoked for games throughout the years. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing what's going to come of college football in the future. But it was an integral part of my childhood. I will acknowledge that forever, and to the SEC on CBS, thank you so much for everything that you did throughout my childhood and my time at college here at the University of Alabama as well. Have a great day.
For one final time,
It's the SEC Championship game
on CBS.